Adobe is pouring significant investment into this Adobe Commerce Storefront thing. Is it just a fad that will peter out? Perhaps it's a replacement for Magento. Or maybe it's their secret message to the world that they actually do believe in this Magento thing. Or more than likely, it's just their latest of many money grabs. Adobe Commerce Storefront is newish, so it's probably going to be part of your conversations if you're either looking to move to Magento or wanting to stay on it but wondering what's next. In this video, I will fill you in on what the heck is Storefront, its pros and cons, and some ideal use cases. I'll wrap this up with a way that you can personally get in and kick the tires. Are you ready? Well, let's jump in.
Don't you just hate it when you're all geared up to learn about something cool and here comes an ad? Yeah, well, I guess that's what this would be considered. Here, let me say this. If your website is sluggish, you don't think it looks very nice, or maybe the user experience is clunky, SwiftOtter is your partner to get that into the top, best condition imaginable. You know, we have helped over 9,000 developers on their certification journeys. We've worked on countless Magento websites, making them their best possible presentation, and we would love to do that for you. Now, let's just jump back into the real meat of this.
So what's the backstory here? When browsing a website, we click through what's called the front end. This is the public-facing experience. In Magento's terms, we would call this a theme. So 10 years ago when Magento 2 was released, the theme that came with Magento 2 was called Luma. It's powered billions of dollars of revenue, and yeah, it's quite far from perfect.
You know, when I see a car like this, first thing I do is I say, would you look at this?
And back 10 years ago, it wasn't anything close to being modern or cutting edge or sexy, and yet this decade has honestly aged better than expected on this piece of technology, but we all agree it's not a great solution. Adobe Commerce Storefront is Adobe's official replacement for this foundational Luma theme, but with 4 twists, the last being the biggest twist. So number 1, this is actually Adobe's second rodeo with this type of architecture. Has anyone heard of Magento PWA? Pretty much across the board, the first edition was deemed a disaster. It was built on React, and I have heard of massive budget overruns for these unlucky merchants who chose that route. The good news is that I believe Adobe and many other platforms have learned from the mistakes made here. Second twist. Storefront is actually a separate website, separate code base that loads data in from Adobe Commerce. This separation provides a firewall from the core Magento application, which in my experience increases the overall website stability, it can decrease the total cost of ownership, and it definitely increases security. And that's where the obtuse, the weird headless moniker actually comes from.
Just one thing that must be done, off with their heads.
Oh, that's rather drastic, isn't it, dear?
Third, it is simple. Like the most straightforward theme I have ever seen in the Magento world. There is no need to learn crazy frameworks, and yet it still leverages modern browser features. Some argue that this is a disadvantage, but Adobe has reasons for this design. Portability is definitely one, and I would guess that learning lessons is a second, if we think about Magento PWA. I'm sure there's more reasons, but the benefits that this provides is the number of developers that can customize it are more than ever. And this has been a massive complaint about the core Adobe Commerce system. Number 4, Storefront is actually a 2-for-1. Page Builder is being kicked to the curb, and Adobe is giving you the option of either using Adobe Experience Manager or their innovative document publishing system. And the latter is actually already somewhat included in your Adobe Commerce licensing costs. One other thing that's interesting about Storefront is drop-in components. As I said earlier, the base Adobe Commerce Storefront environment is super basic, but these drop-in components power unique pieces of functionality. For example, the category page. And ironically, speaking of portability, you can use some of these on your website right now to customize how Adobe Live Search works. Modularity. I'm digging it. So why should we consider Storefront? I'm going to give you several reasons I think you're going to relate to. Number 1, like a rich person's obsession with supercars, the Magento space seems to be racing for this fastest theme. And Adobe, based off of what I'm seeing here, is quite a bit in the lead. It beats everything else that I've seen available, even those promising to be the fastest. Number 2 reason why you should consider this is that this is the only theme on the market with Adobe's backing. And again, I'm using the word theme loosely because this is kind of like a separate website, but it is a replacement for the Magento idea of a theme. They've made massive progress in building this and developing this system over the past year, and I really do believe it is going to be the future for at least the next decade. And number 3 reason to really consider this, and this isn't really just storefront. The idea though of separating the customer experience from the back end is really impactful. And when we're seeing a significant movement toward this new detached architecture, there's less interoperated code to manage and thus break. We can do better caching, and ultimately there's also better security because the backend is mostly locked away. There's a lot of advantages to going this headless approach. You've heard many, likely compelling reasons to evaluate Adobe Commerce Storefront on your next upgrade cycle. I have a question for you. Do you know what they call the person who only talks about the positives? Marketing. Yeah, and I'm over marketing here at SwiftOtter, and so I'd have to ignore our number 2 core value being virtue if I was to only talk about the positives here. We speak the truth at SwiftOtter. The first reason not to use Storefront, to be honest, it's still in its infancy. I'm recording this in early 2025. It is not complete today. While the vast majority of the day-to-day operations are present, you can place orders and most of the product types are already there, ready to go. There's still plenty of functionality that isn't. B2B capabilities being right up there high on the list. I actually have a full list of what's built and what's not built in the comments below. The good news is that there are already websites live on the system. It's in the wild, but I'd be lying to say it's achieved mass adoption yet. It will one day. It has Adobe's backing, and I'm confident this is going to be an incredibly good solution for many merchants on Adobe Commerce. The second reason not to use Storefront is unlikely to ever be fully solved. One of Magento's big selling features is the ability to install modules. Although, if we're being honest with each other, it's also turned out to be its genuine Achilles heel. And I'll be surprised if we ever see the ability to easily install a module into Storefront ever provided. Depending on how customized your front end is, you might rely heavily on modules, which means there's going to be more expense when migrating to Storefront. If your modules that you use are something like Yotpo reviews, that's pretty easy because there's technically drop-in components for Yotpo. Quite simple. But if you use a custom RMA solution, that's going to have to be built on the front end again. Now, if you really need to leverage a whole bunch of modules, I recommend considering Hoova. So as we wrap this up, who is Adobe Commerce Storefront ideal for today? If you're migrating to Adobe Commerce or looking for a refresh, to be honest, your choice is fairly small or fairly easy. Number 1 is Storefront. We also have a composable solution that we like that is built off of Next.js. Or number 3, Hoova. All have their pros and cons, of course. In fact, I actually have a video comparing Storefront and Hoova, and so if you're looking for another option, I think you're going to be glad that you watched. It's going to be right up here. The big yes on Storefront for you is that it's here to stay. It has Adobe's full backing, full blessing, and it leverages techniques that will improve stability and increase performance. It's lightning fast. And as of this recording in early 2025, it's still not ready for B2B, but I'm guessing that will be available later this year. So if you want to kick the tires, we've created a demo environment for your review. The link in the comments below. Feel free to take a look, click through the website and see what you think. And so in closing, I want to stress that we at SwiftOtter look for what's best for each merchant. And this video is an example of how we strive to enable you to be the most equipped to make the very best decisions in your favor for the long term. There is no size that fits all, and you really need an expert consultant to guide you to what's going to best fit your needs for the next 5 to 10 years. We at SwiftOtter would love to be that for you. Feel free to reach out to me. My email's right here, joseph@swiftotter.com. I would be thrilled to schedule a call with you.